So while I was making the first episode of Gunfighter, which is out now and the algorithm is not being kind to, so I'm going to link at the end of this video. I really hope you guys will go watch it. Anyway, while I was working on the first episode of Gunfighter, a series where I come up with interesting combinations of attachments for Black Ops 6 weapons, I was realizing that I missed something from our previous Call of Duty. It's actually something I miss from the last several Call of Duties, such as Vanguard, Modern Warfare 2 and 3, really any of the Warzone era COD games except for Cold War, but I'm sure that's just a coincidence. Black Ops 6 is missing weapon depth, and when you go back to Modern Warfare 3, yes, its attachments and Gunsmith were both plenty and messy. Like, it was 2 games worth of content, and it wasn't very well balanced. But I'm sorry, now enough time has passed. Let's not act like this was algebra. You knew how to look up the meta, you knew how to look up best weapon setups, we had detailed stats in MWIII, you could see what every attachment was doing to your gun, and hopefully you know how to customize a gun in Call of Duty, like I hope you do. In Modern Warfare 3, removing the stock, swapping the sight, changing the barrel, underbarrel, muzzle, laser, rear grip, etc. made the gun feel noticeably different. You could feel a difference by using a different ammo type or using a different magazine because the gun weighed and performed differently. Weapons that had subsonic rounds fired at a much slower bullet velocity but were much quieter. I had little passive perks like hiding the death skulls above enemies that you killed. Like with the AK-74U, you do a sort of Iraqi reload unless you take the stock off, in which case you get a whole different reload animation because an Iraqi reload requires the person to press the weapon stock into their shoulder. And this gives guns a level of character and depth and personality that is really nice to see in what is the, sort of everybody plays me Twitch shooter. Running a no stock attachment in Black Ops 6 will usually just give you better movement speed or aim walking speed, but taking the stock off the M4 in Modern Warfare 3, you get a whole different recoil pattern, a whole different set of movement animations, and your character holds the gun farther away from their face. Sort of to indicate that they're genuinely hip firing and holding the gun a bit lower and farther out because they do not have a stock to fall back on. And while I was getting a little bit of gameplay of this in Modern Warfare 3, it was just so fun to throw on different attachments and see the drastic changes and subtle changes everything does, not to mention the aesthetic quality and the character quality of being able to sort of make whatever visual weapon you want to make. Now don't get me wrong, I like how Black Ops 6 has such immediately noticeable benefits with almost every attachment, but it makes it feel like I'm just making the weapon perform correctly instead of building my weapon in an interesting or meaningful way. Like if my suppressor doesn't have a downside, and my foregrip doesn't have a downside, my extended mag doesn't have a downside, and my stock attachment doesn't have a downside, and I can have 8 attachments, and my red dot doesn't have a downside, which maybe it shouldn't anyway, but you know what I'm saying, right? Then I'm just making the gun correct. I'm just making it lower recoil. In my Gunfighter episode, I was able to stack 3 attachments that made the gun feel so absurdly accurate, any other attachment that was added to aid in the recoil reduction was genuinely redundant, because the game is so centered on giving you pros and not cons. And again, I do kind of like that, but in terms of interest and replayability, I don't. And this might not matter to you, but it matters a hell of a lot to me. The Call of Duty formula has been in my face for over a decade now, and I love it. I know how it plays. But meaningful weapon customization adds a variable that I can mess around with every single match. Whether it's making a gun extra long and putting on something that increases its muzzle velocity even further and throwing a sniper scope on and a bipod, or taking the stock off and shortening the barrel, being able to use tac stance adds a level of weapon depth because every gun you have essentially has a hybrid attachment equivalent, because this is tied to an attachment in Black Ops 6 for some reason, but essentially a hybrid attachment that allows you to move faster at the expense of some accuracy. And you don't have to use your sight, so high zoom optics were back on the menu in Modern Warfare 3 because even if you had a high zoom optic, you could swap to something that's very competent at medium to close range because of tac stance. And I'm not going to be the realism guy, but it's also a bit more realistic that you do not have to always aim down your front blade, otherwise your bullets go so far everywhere you can't even predict it. In real life, you can aim down the side of a firearm and kind of know where your gun's pointing and do a pretty good job walking your bullets onto a target. And you're not glued to a hollow sight or a scope or anything like that, and it's very nice, it's very cool that Modern Warfare 3 brought that in as a concept just built into every fucking firearm. And while Black Ops 6 adds stuff like sprinting in all directions and diving and sliding without any momentum, they did not make the weapon handling any better or more interesting than the predecessor. Yeah, Black Ops 6 has Omni movement. It makes it kind of hard to go play other shooters because I expect to be able to run sideways. Any game that lets me haul ass in any direction, I'm definitely gonna like, and I do like Black Ops 6. But in Modern Warfare 3, in Modern Warfare 2019, in Modern Warfare 2, and Vanguard, you could make mistakes. You could take the wrong attachment off in the wrong spot on the wrong type of weapon and get recoil that's unmanageable, or get a movement speed penalty that is not worth the recoil reduction. And making mistakes on the gun on one area and going a little too heavy to recoil control, but then making it up with a different attachment, I don't know, it was a fun balance, and I could sit in the Gunsmith for hours. If you don't like that, that's fine. But in Black Ops 6, you're not customizing your gun, you're just giving it the perks that the developers expect that gun to have. 95% of your attachments having only pros and no cons means the developers were fully intending the weapons to be used with underbarrel foregrips and stocks and things that benefit movement speed and horizontal recoil control, so you're just making the gun perform correctly instead of building a gun and making up for shortcomings. And I just want to be really blunt here. Playing around with virtual guns to achieve a certain look, fit into the meta, or that just fits your personal playstyle is fun. Like, am I crazy? Like, if I'm gonna buy the yearly build a gun and shoot people with it game, building the gun better be fun. It's like Vanguard gave us 10 attachments, and then they were like, no, that's dumb, so let's go back to 5, but they gave us tuning, and then they're like, oh no, that's dumb, so we'll stick with 5 and remove the tuning, and now Black Ops 6 is here, and the attachments essentially just do whatever that attachment says and nothing more. It doesn't change the feel or vibe of your gun, it just gives you a stat bonus and an aesthetic change. Is that evil? Is that terrible? Does that make Black Ops 6 a bad game? Does it make its Gunsmith unfun? No, but this video is not about how Black Ops 6 fails, even if I have a really catchy title and thumbnail, thanks for clicking by the way. No, I mean, Black Ops 6 is still a fun game, and it's still fun to customize the guns. The world is not ending over this, trust me. But I can play Black Ops 6 and enjoy Black Ops 6 while also missing the year before and all the cool things we had to play with. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will see you when I see you guys. Let me know what you think about the Gunsmith situation in Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 6. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion. Do you miss weapon tuning? Do you miss 10 attachments? Do you miss Modern Warfare 2019 implementing this Gunsmith feature when everything was new and it felt like Call of Duty finally entered the next gen? Tell me what you think down in the comment section below. See you when I see you. Goodbye.